Marketing preparations. That's the theme for this week. Hello, you're watching the development vlog for Shokken, a restaurant waitlist management tool that is currently available on Google Play Store and soon to be made available on iOS App Store. This is Bill from Shokken, and this is week 76 of development. The current status is that the development effort for the MVP has concluded. The Google Play Store has accepted my app submission, and the app right now is ready and available for download on Google Play Store on your Android devices. iOS App Store recently just approved my submission, and I haven't actually published it yet. I will very soon. So probably in the next week, the iOS app would be available for download from the iOS App Store onto your iOS devices, iPhones and iPads. And the past week has been mostly taking care of marketing preparations. In other words, there's a lot of surfaces for marketing that needs to be done for the product to look polished, to gain trust with the users, and to convey the message that this product is number one, real, number two, quality made, and number three, I stand behind it, and number four, useful. And there's a lot more work than one might expect. So the first thing is that for my physical visitation, plan to show up in restaurants one by one, I need to have some document in my hand to be able to hand out. And recently, I've been experimenting with different versions of brochure, flyers, and one-pagers. These are all, of course, printed on just regular paper. Before I finalize the design, I'm not going to commit to very expensive paper, and that's why you see the white margins here and stuff. But the idea being that when I get to a location, I can hand them this piece of paper, show what the app does, give some value proposition. There's this test yourself QR code that you can scan to see how it works. And on the back side, there's more information, pricing information, as well as the QR code for the website. So this is just this is like version 4, version 5. I think I've settled finally on one of the latter versions. Went through a couple of iterations, and I'm pretty happy with it. Next step with this particular flyer is I have ordered specific cardstock paper. It's special paper, very thick, feels high quality, premium, god-awful expensive. And I'm going to use my home printer, which is this is some fancy inkjet printer that supposedly gives you very nice print quality as opposed to laser. This is printed on laser. It doesn't look very good. All the black stuff, you can barely make out what's going on screen. So that would be the next step, which is to validate the quality of my flyer, physical flyer, using my home printer. And if the home printer doesn't give good quality stuff, I might have to find a commercial printer to actually print the flyers I can hand out in person. So that's the flyer part. And that's the visible part of the sort of the marketing surface stuff that I did last week. There's quite a number of things that are not tangible. There's specifically the social media presences as well as online presences. So for instance, when somebody searches for Shokken, for this business name, currently Google doesn't return anything other than perhaps my website. And this requires a couple of things, search engine optimization. That business has mostly died down because Google has made it impossible, well, very difficult, if not at all impossible, for people to game the search engine algorithms. And right now they have a standardized way for you to submit your information of the product or the website or the services that you offer, such that their system can then figure out a way to rank and sort of metadata your site. So SEO now is just merely, it's not about tactics, it's more about you have to fill out this form and go to the correct Google site to make sure your site is correctly indexed. Just did that. And with Google, you should also register your business. And even if it is not a physical business, of course, I'm not going to register my physical address because this is a service company. But you can still register your ephemeral software company such that when people search for it, they can see a particular entity, and this gives trust signals to your potential users. You know, if they're downloading a website, downloading an app from the App Store, and before they start using it, they're like, let's make sure that they're not trying to steal our information, and they search your company. If it shows up as a Google business, you know, that adds more It doesn't prove that the business is valid or legit, but it gives you more data point for you to be more confident about the app that you download. So that's also done. And on top of that, the apps are listed on app stores, respective app stores, Google Play Store for Android and iOS App Store for iOS devices. And these app stores require that you put in, the verbiage, the description, the tags, the screenshots. The screenshots are incredibly important. And most of the apps, the funnel, the marketing funnel from like discovery to installation to use to, retained use and that funnel, a big part of the loss comes from people, browsing your app listing and then looking at your screenshots and be like, this doesn't look like something that I would like to use. So that's very important. So if you go to those app stores and look at the screenshots of highly popular apps, they're all very nicely done. There's animation, there's like very nice pictures, and they provide value proposition. They try to argue for the product, and that's something that I'm in the middle of doing right now, because the screenshots that I submitted for my app approval have been sort of placeholders. They're not meant to be salesy. They're meant to just satisfy the submission requirements, and they definitely need to be polished up. And on top of that, of course, you have social media presence for two reasons. Number one, of course, you want to reach out to more people so that people can sort of, these are additional channels for you to let other people know about this product. And also, on the other hand, social media presence also would give credence to your brand as well as to the product, right? Imagine, again, somebody looking up your app and finds no social media presence. They're like, is this a fly-by-night operation? Is it going to receive support? Is it something that I can trust my data with? So that also requires a lot of effort. Now, that will take a longer term strategy in terms of the type of content to push out. The cadence of content release, I don't want to set it too high, because if I do, then I exhaust myself. If it's too infrequent, then you don't get enough exposure. So there's a fine line there to tune. So I think initially when I start this exposure, I'm going to set it fairly low and see if I can work it up. That's down the line. Currently, I'm creating the social media websites, as well as filling out the bio, the introduction, the description, as well as every website requires a different banner size, the pictures that make your page look professional, look like somebody actually put effort into doing it. So these are done for a couple of sites: YouTube, LinkedIn, X/Twitter, Instagram, I believe I also did, and TikTok, I think. I'm running into a bit of a rough patch with Facebook, because for whatever reason, Facebook doesn't let me create a page, despite, and it doesn't give you a very informative error information. So it's just like, oh, we can't do this. Please try again later. I'm like, okay, this is not terribly helpful. Like, tell me what's wrong. But of course, I understand that it's also very, well, anyway, it's neither here nor there. Facebook, I'm having issue creating. And from my understanding, Facebook is important in that the target audience that this app looks at, they do use a lot of Facebook for their sort of in-group discussion. So having presence there could be very helpful. In any case, all those public social media websites, I need to have a presence. And currently what I'm doing is I'm creating accounts, linking them, as well as putting in all the tailored descriptions and information and images, assets, to make the pages look nice, to make the pages look like they're created with intentionality. So there's a lot of sort of marketing prep work that's happening right now. And it's a particularly, I wouldn't call it thankless job, but there's not a lot of sort of outcome that you can see after you finish this. It's not like when you're programming and when you're writing your app, and after you implement a feature, you click build, and then you can immediately play with it. All this gives you is just a blank page that's set up and ready for your content. But you have to do it. That's part of the job description. So my goal for the upcoming week is completing the App Store listing refresh, including all the assets, the pictures, the images, and I've already actually completed the asset refresh for my website. So if you go to the website, the missing video section actually now has a video. It doesn't have audio on it, but it has a video that sort of gives a short spiel of what the app is about. And I'm also going to finalize the print situation with my flyer, such that when I show up at the local restaurants, I would be able to hand out a print for them to start thinking about using this app. That's the goal for next week. After that, of course, is the actual marketing effort, boots on the ground, plus recording videos of in short form content for places like X, Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that. And then exploring perhaps some other interesting avenues such as product hunt for product launches, Nevada Restaurant Association for this particular use, and stuff like that. So these would probably require quite a bit more discovery before I come up with a plan in terms of how to attack them. And the interesting thing is, over the last couple of weeks, I've moved away from development to this product/business side of things, and the focus completely changes. And this is a new and uncharted and interesting, exciting territory to explore. And we'll see how this goes. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week.